So welcome to the Human Biography Podcast. On today's episode, I've got my brother, Jay DeMerit, in the house. How are you, Jay?
My man.
Yeah. How are you doing? Tell me.
Nice to be back at the residence. This is nice to see the fam jam.
Here's my little makeshift studio. It's interesting. I always used to leave the house to go do work, and I never thought, maybe it's not like a studio space, or maybe it doesn't feel like work, or if I feel like I'm actually doing something if I'm out of here. And now I love having these conversations with people I love, I admire, in a place that I love and admire. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like this duality.
And we as guests can feel more than guests.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're hitting the fall and winter here in Vancouver. And I've been traveling. I'm sure you've been traveling. Life has been happening. More and more, I think about, guys our age living the life that we do. I talk about watching my kids, and I've been looking at my kids, and I'm like, I come back and they have new vocabulary, or they're a little bit taller, and I'm like, what's going on, right? And I'm like, did I teach them that, or did they learn that somewhere else? And yes and no. And then I'm like, what more do they know that they're not telling me?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's something interesting that I'm learning about. But tell me what it's like being a dad today. Yeah.
Oh, well, dad life is a great life.
Yeah.
It
really
it's
is.
a choice. It's a choice that I made almost 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Oaks turns 8 on the 29th of November. He's 8 already. It's wild, man. But I don't know. A lot of people probably know, but some still may not, that I'm a co-parent. So I co-parent still very happily with my ex-partner, Ashley.
Yeah.
We've been able to make it work.
Of course.
There's a whole podcast on that, but
yes.
That takes work.
Yes,
it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of time.
There's something about giving our kids a good life. Sometimes like, oh, my kids are spoiled, or blah, blah, blah. But the reality is they're not. And is there an emotional side that I'm not giving them because I'm not around all the time? Mm-hmm. I'm traveling, I'm working. I tell my wife, Nisha, I go, you got this, right? Just assuming she's got this. And she's like, well, now that you ask me, it's just like a totally different subject, right? And it's something. So I'm wondering, in your own mind, what is important to you when you're with your son? What are the things that you love to make sure that is happening? Yeah.
Well, being a kid from 2 athletes. His mom was an Olympic gold medalist in skiing.
Super athletes.
And again, having a dad that's played in a World Cup and done the things that I was so fortunate to be able to do. He's been born with pressure.
Yes.
He's been born with a light on him that says, are you going to be like your parents?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What sport are you going to choose? Are you going to play for USA or Canada? He already gets it, bro. I'm telling you, and I can see him living with it. I can see him questioning it. I can see him wondering about it. He even asked me about it because I never. But to your point, and to answer your question, it was the first thing I wanted to do was to have my son be creative.
Yes,
I come from the creative background.
Yes.
I have a degree in product design, so I was trained in the arts before I was ever a professional athlete.
Wow.
So. Me coming into those environments as a creative made me a better athlete. It helped me be a better soccer player at the World Cup level. And so with that, as I became a parent, I was like, okay, what do I want to give back to my kid? What are my real foundations of how I want to parent? And the first thing is support, of course. I had great parents that supported me. And that for me was always the thing that kept me. Well, they didn't always agree with me.
Sure.
But they supported me. And so they let me be me. And so that's what support is, in my opinion. It's just letting people be themselves and supporting that. And going, I know that I don't agree with you on this, but I know that that's what you're like. And so I'm going to let you be with that while mentoring you at the same time and sharing my experiences.
Yes.
And that's what my parents did for me. They didn't pull me down the street. They didn't tell me what I needed to be, or that I, more importantly, needed to be like them. And I think a lot of parents suffer from that. And it's like, I don't do that, so you can't. What do you mean you can't do art? I don't do art, so we don't do art in this family. We're lawyers, or we're doctors, or this is what we do.
Yes.
And it's just so fundamentally backwards, but unfortunately that's kind of the human training that we get in our life and in our environments. But for me, it was always about making sure he was creative. He has athleticism built into. He doesn't need to be an athlete. He already is an athlete.
Yes.
And so
it's great recognition.
we know that. And so now it's just about, for me, get the robot drawings out, get the, now he's drawing Air Force Ones. We're like designing Air Force Ones. We're like, we'll do the shell of the shoe. And then like him and I will each take the line drawings and we'll like make our own Air Force Ones and change the textures and the colors and stuff. So I'll just kind of bring in things like that where we just stay creative. We build things. We just, what do they call it? Hydro dipping. We use spray paint water.
I've
and
seen
dip
that.
shoes and products and Nerf guns and stuff.
Wow.
So we hydro dipped his Air Force Ones a couple weeks ago. So that kind of stuff, for me, it's most important to keep his mind moving, especially in a world where you can be so creative.
Yeah. How do you, and I know I'm coming to this, I'll be 50 next year, so I'm trying to look at my age. I'm like, how do you keep yourself grounded in times? Like, like being a dad, having to work, co-parent, scheduling, life. How do you keep grounded and make sure that you're solid for yourself? And
that's a great question, and I think that is the priority. Anyone that knows, I do a lot of leadership talking and a lot of leadership development and curriculums now, not only for our teenage programs, but just for adults in general.
Sure.
We work in his mentorship. I work with mental performance professionals to work with people about how we can help better their worlds, whatever that is. We help with their pathways. We help with, we call it mentorship, but mentorship's a two-way street.
Yes, it is.
If you're not willing to be mentored or to be a mentee, you're never going to create that reciprocal relationship that all relationships have to have.
That's right.
It has to be reciprocal. And so, people think mentors like, I'm up here and you're down here.
Yeah.
That's not actually true. Like Oak's my son, he mentors me all the time.
Absolutely.
He'll show me a different perspective. I'm like, actually, very good point.
Yeah.
My ego probably stopped me from thinking that, but you don't have one yet. So you're on your way. Yeah. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so, how I stay grounded is I stay active. I stay moving. Anyone that knows me is I'm always doing something.
Yes.
And because I'm a curious person, but it's just something that I know serves me. And so with that comes, as an athlete, I need to keep that metabolism going. I need to stay moving. So 3 days a week I do workouts. I'll do circuit sets. I'll do, strength work, cardio work, things like that all in one, not less than an hour. Yeah. Tuesdays and Thursdays I do inward work. So that's like breath work, meditations. I do reading. I'm doing this thing. I'm already getting the 43-year-old like look at my phone and I gotta take it for a second and like zoom in.
Oh yeah, I can't read my phone.
And so I got put onto this book called Better Eyes for Busy People, and it's 12 exercises that you can do. They're like little things that you do with your eyes to retrain them because our eyes are just muscles, just like our muscles. Yeah. But we stop training them after they stop developing. So you're not doing eye workouts.
No, I'm not. No, there's no eye workouts.
No one is. And so, but the idea is that your eyes are muscles too.
We're
so
straining the hell out of them.
Exactly.
Straining the hell out of them.
And so if you can train your eyes to be muscular and to go from near to far and up and down to left and right and stay focused, that's what you train. And so I've been doing that, just bringing things into my Tuesday, Thursdays, my Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and then I enjoy my weekends.
It's not like this one thing that you want to do. I think you want to have a really big, adventurous life that you have created. And I want to talk about the human ambition side of you, from becoming like, a super performer in the athletic world and then translating that into like work and life. Tell me what drives you ambitiously. What do you want to create for yourself and for the public? What are the things that are like, it's one thing to be great and tell people through a lecture that, these are the things that you can work on. But you actually actively, I've witnessed you and I've taken part in watching you mentor people, take time to do it. And not everyone does that. Not everyone will create programs, work their ass off to do that. And you've done that for hundreds of kids. Like, what gives you that ambition to say, yes, I need to do this, and then go ahead and do that? Because that is not something easy for people to do.
No, and I think anything in our big dreams it's a lonely ride a lot of times.
Yes,
because
people misunderstand these people.
Well, they do because they got their own dreams.
Yeah.
They don't really care about yours a lot of times.
Great point.
And what our mental performance coach through our programs always says, nobody cares as much as you do. And so the first thing you got to do is care. And I care a lot. I care a lot about this life. I care a lot about this world. I care a lot about people. And again, that's part of who I am, getting to know myself over many, many years. But then as I was chosen captain of clubs, both in the Premier League and the MLS, like that leadership starts to lend a lot of human connection. I always say like leading 28 egos of the biggest environments in the world, walking out in front of 40, 50, 60,000 people is like, that was the hardest challenge I ever had to do from a leadership perspective, from a how do you actually build teamwork perspective, and how do you actually manage the personalities of everybody.
It's crazy.
Because you have to do
and
that.
Everyone's super different.
Oh, super. And not to mention, they're from Norway, Egypt, England, Scotland, all of them. And so each of them come with a different culture and a different upbringing. So with that comes a lot of communication. So first, that's the first thing. If I don't know you, if I've never known what you're like or why you're like the way you like, how am I ever going to help you and help lead you in whatever it is that our team or our message as a collective is there for? And that was always my job for 20 years now. That's what I've learned to do. I think part of it was innate. I think part of it was natural. Just being interested in people. I've always been interested.
Caring for young people to strive.
Yeah, and support. And at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest thing. And I guess that would probably be the one answer I would say is that I live my life being supported. And when I got support, I took risks.
Yeah.
And those risks were on myself. But when you have the ability to be creative enough to take risks on yourself, that's the only gift you should ever give to yourself. But because I was supported, because I had parents that put me in environments and that or supported me because I said I wanted to put myself in an environment. When I moved to Chicago as a kid from Green Bay, Wisconsin, I want to go to art school and I want to play D1 soccer, and that's what I want to do. I don't want to get the only scholarship offer I have to stay in my hometown and be a D1 athlete in a big fish in a small pond. I was like, not me, not doing it. You know how many parents would be like, well, we're here and this is it, and if we're going to support you, then you got to stay here. Yeah. This is the best option, Jay. Sure. This is what you got to do. Yeah. Do you know how many parents would do that?
Yeah.
My parents didn't. They said, okay, we'll get the biggest scholarship you can. We'll support you in the beginning, but you got to go down there and work your ass off and do what you think you can do.
Perform.
And so again, that's all I need. If I'm doing that because it's my self-driven prophecy, that's all I need. I need support.
Somebody to believe in you.
Exactly.
From the beginning.
And
I think we all need that.
We all do. And again, I know that. And then now that's how I provide that. And that's why I provide that.
I remember early in my career, I didn't even know it was going to be a career, like just interviewing people, on putting it on the internet. Like that was like 15, 20 years ago, thinking, oh, this is not a job. It's my job. It's nice, thank goodness. But like people questioning me, going, okay, this is great, but how are you going to make money doing this, supporting
that face you're giving me right now, that question phase, I get it like 3-4 times a week.
Yeah. and okay, so and let's talk about that. The audaciousness of being an entrepreneur and being like, I know something. I'm not just trying to do something for the sake of doing something. Otherwise, I would have just done something else that would have made me millions and millions of dollars or whatever. Having enough connections, network, all this. I believe in something. I know that something will work. It's a lonely road. Tell me about that.
Yeah, and I always say, people always say like when you go on this lonely journey, it's like you have to have this either chip on your shoulder is what they call it, or this like it's your world, and like you got to make sure that you're like staying in that because no one's going to do it for you.
Yeah,
and I totally agree with that in a certain way, but I don't believe in the chip on the shoulder. When you have a chip on your shoulder, that means you are trying to prove other people wrong.
Yes, that's right.
But when you do things with purpose, you are trying to prove yourself right.
Yes.
And it's fundamentally backwards in the thought, because I'm not trying to sit here and give my energy to somebody else that doesn't believe in me.
Yes.
I got only this finite amount of energy. I'm going to make sure I'm giving all of it to what I think I'm capable of, to what I think that I can do, and what I think that I can achieve, because no one's going to do it for you.
That's right.
And so that's where that work ethic has to come from. That's where the extra energy that you need will be required. If I'm off there giving it to somebody else because I'm like, well, and then I'm going to show them and I'm going to do that because they don't like it, I'm already giving it to somebody, not to mention my mind, not to mention my thoughts.
Yes.
My thoughts is what creates the energy. My thoughts is what makes me get off the couch.
Yes.
But my thoughts is what that big dream idea is. It's the only way you do it is if you work, is if you get off that couch and you go and believe in that. And so you can't do it alone, but you have to dream big first. And so, that comes from, again, support and being able to take risks in this life, because I know that if I fail in all things in life, my parents will still love me.
Yeah.
My kid will still love me.
Yeah.
You'll still love me.
Yes, absolutely.
Like at the end of the day. And so I think that's part of it, this kind of foundational relational thing.
Also learning, why we are in each other's lives. I don't need anything from anybody, but I love the energy that I'm getting. I'm happy when I see you. Those types of things, and men don't have those conversations a lot. Like I sometimes will be like, yeah, hey, what's going on? Like I don't watch sports. It's very interesting because you're a very big sports guy and I don't watch sports, but we are like, whenever we see each other, we have heartfelt conversations because we care for each other and we understand each other. And so there's this other piece that I'm sort of wielding with in my whole life is that when I do have a big idea, who do I share that with? Like who do I like? Because I've had some ideas before, and then people are like, okay, and I'm like, let me just go execute, and then people are like, oh, look at what he did over there, and then I'm like, okay, and I didn't do it to show anybody, but I'm ready to showcase it because I want to say, hey, here's something I was working on.
To prove anyone else wrong.
Yes,
and that's kind of been going with the whole kind of conversation here. It's like you did it because that's your big dream, and that's what you want to do.
And you're a witness to
and the rest is bonus. And so with that, again, to your point, what you just said, it's not just saying it and doing it. It's showing the result of it.
What are you creating now?
I mean, I'm still in app world. The app world, again, it's been so long, but startups, as we talk about a couple times in entrepreneurship, it's just the trenches. And I've been 3.5 years now in this concept of creating a masterclass for Gen Z.
Wow.
But it's through an app. EA is our founding partner. We have validation from the biggest video game company on the planet. If not one of them. They're our founding partner, our first investor. Finding money is very hard right now. People VCs, venture capitalists need data. We are a pre-product, so therefore we just have conceptual data. And what data is there before us, not by our actual product. So that takes 90% of VCs out right now. So that moves to angel investors. We are in a very trying time financially with a lot of people. People that used to have money don't. People that need to remortgage now don't have the extra funds to invest in other people.
That's true.
And so we've just found this spinning wheels moment. And so I've been spinning my wheels. We have lots of other partnerships we've been signing from corporations and things that want to create content once we have the app. But it's just about getting back to, again, from my focus, and that is my purpose. And my purpose is to support and inspire. And this is how I do that. And so through our programs, through the work that I do with people, I realize that having a digital way to provide mental health support and learning through celebrities and brands and make it fun and gamified and have kids earn the right to be smarter and have better mental health is where my purpose lives right now. And
good for you.
Not only as a dad and a responsibility for the next generation, even deeper, but I just watch, and I have kids all summer in my programs, and I watch the teenage environment, and they need our help more than ever. I start every camp I ever do with having them put their hands up as who's suffering from stress and anxiety. The whole room puts their hand up every time.
Wow.
And they don't know who to trust. They don't know who they are. They don't have skills to practice. And the teachers of tomorrow aren't the people that are sitting in front of classrooms. They're not. They're celebrities. They are brand owners. They're CEOs. They're mentors that have blue check marks next to their names, or companies that are on the walls of sports stadiums. And these are the people that all kids want to be now. And so instead of saying you need to go to this school that's going to give you or your parents stress for 50 years because you got to pay back a $300,000 debt, education's changing, and we just need to be smart about it, and we have to be conscious of where the next generation lives, and that's on their phones.
I think it's very interesting because having 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, I see what they're doing all day when they're not talking to me. They're on devices and they're talking to their friends, and you are right. They are influenced by the influencers. They want to do. My daughter wants to sing like a certain person. My son wants to play soccer like a certain person, and that makes them joyful. And I think that approach is amazing. In your ideas and your creation and your creativity in the app, how do you know when to pivot and add more to it or to bring back? Like how do you adjust to the times of the, like what resources do you need, number one? And then how do you adjust?
Well, the first thing we need is stories. The human. You know, and again, this is where mentorship needs to become. Like, the elders are gone. We don't talk to them anymore. We used to go to community centers all the time. Because that's what we had as kids. Drop you off at the Y.
That's right.
And there'd be a bunch of different kids from a bunch of different places and a bunch of different skin colors.
That's right.
And we'd either play basketball, the artists would be upstairs, the singers would be singing downstairs, and that was called community. And we had it. What happened now is kids become anywhere between 9 to 13. They show a skill in something, music, arts, sports, science, whatever that is. And they say, hey, there's an academy for you. You got to pay for that academy,
Yes.
but it's also singular to the approach of that skill.
Yes.
And so if I'm a basketball player and I'm 12 and I'm really good, that's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
If I'm a soccer player, that's what I'm going to do. If I'm a musician, I got violin lessons, and I got piano, and then I go to this other thing, and then this pay-to-play program.
Yeah.
That again, if you want to get to the bones of why it is, that pay-to-play program, if I pay $36,000 over the next 6 years,
Yes.
it's going to save me $150,000 for the next 4 years.
That's right.
And so parents now, they don't even know they're drinking the Kool-Aid because they're trying to save themselves money too.
Yes, they are.
Because our systems and our foundations of education have been built on a monetary value,
Yes, they
not on the value of the information or the experience of the teacher.
That's right.
So what happens now is that we got to switch that. The experience of the teacher now becomes the people. Now, in a masterclass society, why is Masterclass $1 billion company? Because people will pay to learn from Gordon Ramsay how to cook.
Yes.
People will pay to learn how to play tennis from Serena Williams.
That's right.
What we're doing now is that's now fundamentally wrong too, because 70% of the world can't afford $4.99
Absolutely.
to pay for that app or to pay $40 to learn how to cook with Gordon. Like that already takes opportunity and education away. So now we got to peel back that layer and say, how can we be free? How can we show that just if you have a Wi-Fi signal, you can learn too from the best people in the world at the best things in the world.
Yes.
And so this is where now we have to come back to. But again, curating a story. And so now instead of having a 15-minute video, we got to go 5 videos of 3 minutes for teenagers.
Yes,
we got to
that's
go,
right.
do you have 3 minutes of your
Their
time?
attention span.
Do you like that? Cool. And if you do, watch another episode. It's the same way that Netflix rolls into the next episode, and the same way that, YouTube rolls into the next episode.
Yes.
It's what they're used to. And so we got to meet them where they live. That's device driven, stories that they care about. Does anyone that watches Mr. Beast actually know where he's from?
No.
What made him the way that he did? So seeing clips of his first video, understand why philanthropy is way more important to him than the hits themselves, why his friends group are his friends group, and then we go to them and talk about why they love Mr. Beast. We don't talk about the stories around why everyone thinks it's awesome.
That's right.
Imagine if we did, and we do it so easily. We're not spending 4 days with Mr. Beast. We're spending a day with Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And we're not to say we have Mr. Beast yet, but we will, because this is the new way to learn. Mr. Beast is the greatest teacher we have right now.
Every kid knows his name.
Exactly.
They can't name you the world leaders, but they can tell you who Mr. Beast.
Exactly. And you can't tell me that Mr. Beast isn't the best in the world at what he does.
Yeah,
and so again, you ask any kid, what do you want to be? 75%, I think it's 80 now, say YouTuber.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to take
Who even knew that was a thing?
Some Harvard University YouTube course? No, let's ask Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And so the idea is we shift that now. We tell stories around the people. Our job is to curate the right people.
That's right.
We always say there's 1 million people on Instagram that have 5 million followers because they have a great bikini body.
Yeah.
Or they got big muscles.
Wow.
Or they look beautiful on this thing. Again, image is one thing, and we could talk about that for days too. But the other part of that is
scary.
And this is where we focus on, it's your brain.
Yes.
And so the cool thing about while we're trying to shift gears and what we're trying to create product-wise is that we're taking away the image piece right away. From your profile, it's not your face, it's your brain.
Yeah.
And it's your brain is split into 9 parts. And each of them have a different version of intelligence.
Wow.
Body kinesthetic, logic math, creative, naturalistic, existential. These are all intelligences that every one of us has, but we're not tapping into all of them because most of the time as a 13-year-old, we are getting told you got to be good at one thing. And so the basketball player is crushing body kinesthetic, maybe creative, maybe some interpersonal because he's a teammate. But that's it. When's the last time he's touched logic math?
Right.
When's the last time he's watched an actor lesson and actually went on a screen and did a scene with an actress that he follows online because he's favorite show? This is how we can create interaction now. We can create a holistic education right from their device. But it's not just the information now. We got to go to layer 2 and 3. It's how do you interact with that content?
Yes.
TikTok taught us that.
Yes.
But then lastly, what do you earn from it? And so this is where the gamification layers start to come in. So it's not just about content anymore. It's about how do you interact with that content. That turns into retention or deeper retention. That's what we're learning. And then the last piece, how many times have you told your kid he'll get some candy if he does this thing?
Yeah.
we're built that into there too. We got to give them something for their efforts now.
Incentive.
What is that now? Is that a digital coupon? Is it an ice cream cone at this thing that's a digital QR code that you can redeem in store?
That's right.
Is it a song from iTunes from an artist that's only given it to you because you learned through 3 episodes why that artist is awesome?
Yeah.
And then as an artist, the actual pictorial artist, you're giving away digital prints. You're doing things that are super scalable for all people, just like a digital coupon is for a brand.
So as I think about this, and anybody that's watching this, like how I've learned my own work is like feedback and telling people like, how can you help me and how can I help you? If anyone is watching this and has ideas on how to move the needle on what Jay is working on, I want you to connect with him, and I will connect you with him, because I feel like when you have so much effort, and I know how much drive and how much energy you have towards this, sometimes need others to come in and step in and help. And that's what I want people to do with this.
And to your point, that's one of my faults. I have noticed this about myself.
Oh,
too.
interesting.
I don't ask a lot. I just do things and hope that people support. And I need to be better at that.
Yeah.
I need to ask better questions.
People don't.
I need to. That's one of the things I'm realizing over the last kind of 6 months.
As a man, sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't ask because I should be the one with all the answers, and I don't have all the answers. And I'm glad
we
that
need people that have skill sets that we don't.
Yes.
And I think that's what I lack, is that I try to do everything.
Yes.
And it's just not. Bring in the people that have the skills to do that and have them help you.
Yeah.
But ask for their support. And
Yes.
again, I need to do a better job of that.
It's who has the energy and the care and the belief in you. And that's where you want it. And I believe in you. And I want to see all your dreams come true. And that is why I want people to know that we're not just watching somebody perform. We're not watching a former athlete create his next big genius. It's that we all need to support this genius. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, I appreciate that. And again, you've been there from the beginning.
Always.
And so, you've seen it all. I mean, I remember sitting on a yellow couch.
Yeah.
In our first or second year of the camps that we run.
Oh, we used to go up to the camps. Absolutely.
We made some cool films, and we've done a lot of really interesting things over the years. And then again, I know that you're a part of my circle because of these reasons and because you're always there and because we support each other.
Yeah.
We need to support each other more too.
Support the people you grew up with.
Yeah.
Support the people you grew up with that are not just sitting on the sidelines. You're not sitting on the sidelines. You're trying to constantly do, man.
Yeah, well, and again, thankfully I've been wearing an armband for a very long time. Now my armband just becomes something different. Like I'm still captaining in the teams, but I'm a different captain.
Yeah,
it's a different
right.
field now. And I think,
Great.
For me, it's a gift. It's something that I truly enjoy. It does lift me up. It's who I am.
Great.
So when you understand your purpose in this life, and again, I know my purpose. It's to inspire and support. And so with that, I do both of those things. I'm conscious of doing both of those things. But then again, I need to be more conscious of being supported, being inspired.
Yes.
And so I can flip that even on its own head to myself and really start to, again, continue to look inward and go, okay, how can I, if those are my things, and those are the things that are my love languages too, like, why aren't I getting that? Why aren't I trying to set boundaries on getting that back?
Yes.
Like, I can do that. You'll support the shit out of me. I know this.
Yes.
But am I asking you for more support? Not really. So
but it comes naturally. That's something else that I learned as well. Some people show up. Like I do ask people, can I help? Can I help? And then I'm not somebody who's just going to walk away and be like, but there's also that, like, I have a format here that can create and that can help tell a story. That's really what I do. I listen to stories. I'm a story listener. Is that, you have a story to tell. You have something that you're not going to sit there and wait for, just going to sit in the corner and wait for people to pile some money on me and I'm have a company and life is grand again. No, you have a struggle, you have a victory, and you have a journey. And that journey is what you're on right now. And there will be many struggles and there'll be many victories and there'll be many parts that are going to be tough. Bring us anxiety. Bring us a toughness that we don't know about. But as I said earlier, I will be there for you when you're going through those tough times. And we should be there for each other.
And I believe that. I really do. I do. And it makes you want to take more risks on those times. You know what I mean? Like, that's always the thing. Like, I kind of said it once, I think, on this so far. It's like, I take risks because I know I'm supported.
Yes.
Like, I know my parents are going to love me.
Yes.
I know my mom's all stoked up because we're going to Apple after Christmas.
Great.
We're going to Apple to pitch them about the app and try to get in with some MLS things. And kind of that's going to be our entry into the market. And I just know, like, how excited she was when I tell her that. And then she asked about it and she just wants me to win so badly. But I know that if I lose, that I'll call my mom and I'll tell her that I lost. And she'll be like, oh, well, that's too bad, Jay.
Next time.
Do you need us to come out? Do you need anything? Do you need us to take our Oaks? Will you try to figure out some new things?
Yeah.
Like, that's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't need their money. I don't need their things. All I need is their support. And I think,
love.
That's
what we're all looking for.
When we can give that, and it's been a really good theme of this kind of this podcast this time, it's that. It's like, are we supporting enough? Are we receiving enough support? Are we putting ourselves in an environment to be supported?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing enough of that, and I need to.
Let's leave it at that. Let's let everyone know that you are loved and you are cared for. And Jay, love you so much, brother, and thank you for being here. And I wish you so well on your journey.